Good morning, all you beautiful souls out there. Welcome to episode 8 in your Perseverance Under Pressure podcast. We are having a great hair day today, as you can tell. And this week's topic is going to be on passion. We have a lot of P words at play, guys. Perseverance, pressure, patience, passion. All right? And I'm going to read you real quick what the true meaning of passion is, as described by Google. Okay? So, genuine passion means having a deep, authentic, and unwavering enthusiasm or a love for something, characterized by a strong drive to pursue it despite difficulties, involving dedication, effort, and a willingness to endure challenges, and not just a fleeting interest or desire for external rewards. Okay? That is what the definition of genuine, true passion is described as. But let's take a look at some of these other words that involve the description of passion. Unwavering enthusiasm. Okay? Authentic. Authenticity, strong drive or pursuit, another P word, right? And then a willingness to endure. So as we talked about sacrifices, as we talked about pressure, and as we talk about the name of this podcast, perseverance, there's a lot of these other characteristics, feelings, emotions, and mental states that come into play with passion. So we chatted a little bit last time about the interconnectivity of all of these singular focal points for each episode: clarity, discipline, sacrifice, pressure, dreams. But they all connect. So, if you have passion for something, but you lack the desire or the strong pursuit, or another word, perhaps, perseverance, then the passion just kind of wanes, right? So, I'll take you into a quick story for wrestling, because you all know that I was a wrestler. So, in the beginning, the 16, 17-year-old self, right? I started as a backyard wrestler with my buddies, like most of us do, jumping off of roofs, wrestling on the backyard, and setting up chairs for the turnbuckles, or on a trampoline with my other buddy, Zach, who I started training as a pro wrestler with. And the passion that I had for it, you don't do these things because it's not pleasant. Jumping off a roof through a table, or climbing a ladder, getting hit with a ladder, getting hit with a chair, landing on the ground, doing some flips and crap where we're landing on the ground. There's no mats, there's no padding. We're just landing on the living room floor or the ground. Trampoline if we're lucky, when I was working and wrestling with Zach. But the passion you have to pursue those actions, to apply those things, has to be there. So for me, I had such a passion in wanting to wrestle, in wanting to make it to the WWE, in wanting to put on a good performance every single time I was out there. And I had plenty of bad performances. And if you were a fan following me back in the day, I apologize. I was just young and green, and sometimes you were just not in it, and your matches sucked. So, everybody goes through it, myself included. But the passion is what kept me coming back. The passion of being in the ring, of being in front of a crowd, of entertaining, of being able to tell a story, of whether somebody liked me, loved me, or hated me. it had an impact on somebody else. And I liked how that felt. I enjoyed being able to impact somebody else's life, and whether it was at the expense of my own body, which later on it came from neck injuries and knee injuries and everything else. But I had a passion for the entertainment component and the athleticism. And I pursued through all of the obstacles, all of the challenges, because the passion is what pulled me forward. So when you have a business, when you have a dream, when you have a goal, if there's no passion attached to it, it's not gonna pull you. If you're not passionate about what you're doing, I would say as an entrepreneur, get out of it. Now, you might be a normal 9-to-5 job, working blue collar, white collar person, and you hate your job. But if that's what your job is, and you're not an entrepreneur, you don't have your own business, or you don't have the desire to go out and start your own business, then yeah, you're gonna trade off passion for price tag, right? You know, you're getting a paycheck. But for the true entrepreneurs, we are willing to sacrifice stability, comfort, security for the hopes, for the passion, for the dreams, for building something from the ground up. And the passion is what pulls you forward. It's what motivates you. It keeps you driving and persevering towards that goal. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. Over time, especially as you grow, as you evolve within yourself, your own mindset, as you change into this different version along your journey, your passions are going to change. Some do, some don't. I have guys that I started wrestling with, or who started wrestling before me in early 2000s, in late 1990s, who are still wrestling today. Their passion has pulled them, and some of them, WWE, AEW, have really done good for themselves. But I know a lot of injuries have been accumulated along the way too. So the sacrificing of their body, the sacrificing of family time, of stability to be on the road for their dreams, have continued to pull them and motivate them into achieving that. Now for me, after I started breaking down, I went from my 16-year-old self, enthusiastic, passionate, driven, motivated, over the course of 12 years until about 28, 29, when I kind of exited the industry, I got to the point where the passion had started to wane. I was no longer as passionate about the business and the pursuit of it as I originally was. I'd kind of hit my head on the ceiling, and then I broke through. I was ready to give up. I was ready to walk away, and I want to say 2009, 2010. And I was ready. I was putting in, I think, 7 years at that time. I was getting tired of the crappy shows. I was getting tired. I didn't have good business sense at all. I'm going to be honest with you. At that time, I had a hard time selling merchandise. I felt weird asking people, trying to get people to buy a t-shirt. Like, who the hell am I? I'm just an independent wrestler trying to make it to WWE. But I felt weird trying to turn it all into a business. And that was my fault. That was my learning experience, and understanding everything is a business in today's day and age. You're selling yourself. And if people want to support you, fantastic. But I wasn't trying to push things down people's throats, and I didn't invest a lot of money into trying to build my brand. And that's on me. And I've learned that, which is why we do all of these things now, because I understand the avenues, and this is what I'm passionate about now. So when my passion started to wane from wrestling, the motivation started to disappear. The pursuit and the perseverance started to get less. I was eating more junk food, I would guess to say. I had been disciplined for so long, and I was tired of hitting my head on the ceiling and not getting a phone call. But then when I hit the breakthrough, I got a phone call from the office. We talked about that, I think, in the first or second episode. I had a phone call from the office, and that lit a spark. That burned a fire because I had broken through. I had finally climbed up to that next level, and that reignited the passion because now I was at a new level. Now it was somewhere that I had always been trying to get, and here I am. I have this opportunity. So now it became a fire of motivation. Back in the gym, hitting cardio every day, training, focused on the eating, focused on what I was putting into my body, going back to the wrestling school out in Connecticut at the time, PWA with Joseph von Schmidt, and training again on a weekly basis to refresh and re-hone the craft. It refueled me. And then when I got there, I was on and off with them for about 2 years, 2.5 years. And then I started breaking down. I started having some injuries. My contact in the office got shifted out. Some of the other guys that were helping us out there got fired or released or moved to different positions. And so again, I now had to look at my 29-year-old self and say, I'm losing the passion. I don't have the same drive. I'm not enjoying the business as I did. I'm seeing much more behind the curtain now. I'm seeing more of the politics at play. I'm seeing more of the egos at play. I'm seeing more of the inauthenticity of the other professional wrestlers, of other people in the industry, the who knows who and who can scratch your back type of deals. And I just really stopped liking it. I lost all passion for it. I haven't watched wrestling pretty much since I left wrestling in 2016 or 15. The only thing that I catch is some clips on YouTube. I have no desire, I have no passion to watch it or pay attention to it anymore. It was a different chapter in my life. But the passion that I lost for that came anew for therapy, for healing. It brought me from one chapter into the next chapter, or we can say from one book, the wrestling entertainment world, into the healing therapeutic world. So the sequel, right? But the passion for wrestling shifted and changed and evolved into the passion for healing, for therapy, for reaching more people in an authentic way, which our next episode is going to cover authenticity. But seeing the world of characters, seeing the world of fake, seeing the world of pretend, of fake people pretending to be good, bad people pretending to be good, good people pretending to be bad, and the ego and the entertainment component. It was a cool experience, don't get me wrong. I would never trade anything for it. But now having that experience, I can take and shift into the authentic realm. And this is what I see from a therapeutic standpoint, is a lot of fake, inauthentic professionals who lack a passion for the therapy, for their techniques. They have passion for money. They have passion for legacy. They have passion for greed or control, but they've lost the passion for the authentic healing, for the teaching, for the applying, for the clients who are receiving it and benefiting from it. And so I'm so passionate about what I do now that I travel to other countries on my own dime. I do pop-up workshops for studios. I'm happy to go in, and I do some of these things for free because I have a passion to share this modality, to share my company, to educate people, to share more healing and understanding on the philosophies, on the approach. And it's me, not as my wrestling persona, but me as Chris Kalis, the authentic version, the most authentic version that I have ever been and come to find myself in, is where the passion lies for me. Teaching, sharing, spreading. Everybody needs to make money to live in this world. I get it. But it reads very different if you can feel someone's passion versus you can sense that somebody is just doing the motions or going through the motions for either money or because that's just what they know, it's what they're used to, they don't know how to do anything else, or they've just gotten used to doing what they're doing and they just kind of have remained stagnant with no passion. So that's very important, whether you're following your dreams, starting your own business, being an entrepreneur, whatever it is. If the passion goes away, you've got to figure out where it went. It might just mean that what you were passionate about in one chapter has shifted and your passion is pulling you in a different direction. So try to find your passion and then understand if what you're doing is not something you're passionate about and you would prefer to do something else, then make that goal a reality. Pursue that and understand none of it's going to be easy. None of it is going to feel great all the time. You might get a nice 20, 30% where you're on a high and the rest you're shoveling shit and you're building the ground and the foundation and you're pouring the concrete and it's a grind. But that's where the passion pulls you forward. That's where it helps motivate you. You persevere because you have passion for what you're doing. So keep that in mind, guys. I want to talk about passion. Hopefully you can feel the passion from me as I share these podcast episodes, as I share and talk about my journey, my life, my education company with SRT. But yeah, if you find that you're lacking the passion, it's going to be very, very difficult to pursue whatever it is that you're pursuing. So see if you can shift, refine the passion, recultivate the passion, or follow the passion as it pulls you in another direction, and just understand it's just another mountain to climb. So even if you've climbed halfway up one mountain, like I did with WWE, I didn't get a contract, I didn't get onto TV big time, I didn't get championship belts, I wasn't traveling the world with them. I stopped a third of the way up the mountain maybe, right? But my passion started pulling me in another direction. And so I ended up walking back down that mountain, and then it took me to another mountain. So yeah, you're starting back at the bottom, but your passion is now pulling you up a different mountain. And you're going to put in the work. You're going to put in the sweat equity. You're going to put in the sacrifices. You're going to do all of the same things that you already did on this mountain, but now you're over on this other mountain. And that's okay. That's a part of life. That's a part of what's making it worth everything that you're going through. And if it's not worth it to you, then it's not worth it to you. And that's totally fine too. If you don't have passion for anything, then I feel bad for you. And I hope that you can cultivate passion for something, whether it's art, whether it's creativity, photography, drawing, telling jokes, stand-up comedian, just sharing your story, right? Pursue your passions. Life ends the same way for all of us. In the ground, for the most part, unless you're cremated or thrown into the ocean like Osama bin Laden apparently. But life ends. It comes to an end. It is temporary. When you realize that, it changes your entire perspective. Pursue your passion. Find what makes you joyful, what motivates you, and run towards it. And then when it changes, change directions and run towards the new direction. All right, guys, that is our episode for this week. Please, as always, hit the notification bell, hit the like button, sub to the channel, leave your comments, and we'll see you next week in episode 9. I believe, right? Episode 9. Have a great week, everybody. Take care.